We're going to pause for a quick.
Through what to expect if we have outages, and then
finally
just to remind everybody about
safety. Entergy New Orleans
I have
CEO
Shelton
Deanna
Hudson
Rodriguez
with me here.
Listen
He's our Director of Operations for the metro area, and I have Nika Scott here, who is also here, and she is our VP of Customer Service. So you have a couple of other people to ask questions of when I finish this little part. First and foremost, we prepared well in advance. We drill all the time, but we also did some other things in advance of the storm. What we did, we did a lot of vegetation management to make sure as the winds come through, you don't see flying debris, you don't have limbs falling on wires. We know we can't protect everything, but we did the most critical lines that we could and went through that. We hired extra vegetation management crews to come in just to do that. We also, so we've added 1,000 vegetation crews, and then we also patrol 48 line miles and perform vegetation management work at 109 sites. These are the hot spots that they were looking for, again, to at least preempt any of the damage that might be caused by the wind, and if we could do that, then we can hopefully prevent some outages. We've also have about, we have, just so everyone knows, because I want to make sure as you look out there, if you're out and about, which you shouldn't be, you're going to start seeing a lot of crews coming into the city, and they'll be housed here. A lot of them will work in New Orleans metro area, and they'll also be staying here at our hotels to work the rest of the state. So we have additional crews from all over the state and from our sister companies in Texas and Mississippi and Arkansas. Everyone's coming here to help us restore as quickly as we can. And the last note that I got, or the last numbers I got, which I know is already increased, we have 1,350 hotel rooms at over 4 hotels just to support and house crews. That is an example of how we're bringing in and being prepared. On what we'll do if you should have an outage, we're going to ask everyone to remember that if you go outside and you see a line down, do not touch it. If you're using a generator, be careful, and be careful of how you use it. But if we are able to, we will get out there as quickly as we can. Like everyone else, we have to keep our crews safe, make sure y'all are safe, and if the winds are above, Shelton, 30 miles per hour, we're not allowed to send crews up in bucket trucks. So they will have to do damage assessment first, and then go back out, make sure they understand that what has happened, and then they'll start restoration as quickly as possible. I'm going to ask Shelton to give just a little bit more information on what happens in those steps. As soon as you do the damage assessment, then what?
Yeah, so once we have So once we start our phase of damage assessing, and then as we get contract crews, we kind of work in tandem to where we'll have some crews working overnight to where they're identifying the things that may have happened overnight, to where we have that work kind of ready for the crews as they come in. With that said, we then work with just kind of running out there, kind of catching all our lines in terms of what's out there, and then getting our crews as they come in to work, getting them out there on the highest customer count feeders to make sure we account for those, and any critical infrastructure, for example, sewage and water board, treatment facility. If that feeder was to go out, we want to make sure we get that up and running. So that's kind of the game plan. We start with the feeders with the highest customer count, as well as the critical infrastructure that's out there.
Can you talk about how the system has been hardened since Hurricane Ida, especially with service to the sewage and water board and the sewage pump stations that were kind of abandoned without power for a long time last time?
So one thing I'll say is, leading up to this storm, we've definitely did our inspections on all our feeders that feed into the treatment facility, and all our sewage and water board critical infrastructure, our critical pumping stations that we have out there, to make sure they're in good standing. If there's anything imminent that we need to address, we make sure that we do that.
Are there certain problem areas where you guys notice where they always get outages that you guys are actually watching closely?
We're just very mindful in terms of the critical feeders we have out there, that if they do go out, we make sure we get them back as quickly as possible. obviously doing it once it's safe to do so and keeping the guys' safety paramount. So.
And this room in particular, I mentioned earlier, this room in particular is where they will be notified when there are outages. They can see, and they have a viewpoint, vantage point here to watch everything. As outages occur, they know where they are, and then they will be notifying crews as they come in to go and do the restoration.
And Deanna, could you talk a little bit about the situation with NOPS? Because obviously that was a issue after Ida where the city council was concerned about the Black Star capabilities. We're probably not going to face that kind of situation with this storm, but in case we do, have there been improvements there to be able to get the power out if it needs to start up?
NOPS was a whole different situation and a whole different type of storm, but NOPS is now running. So we have it running right now. It is intended to stay on throughout the storm.
Can you talk about why people should not go out when you guys are assessing immediately after the storm? Because I understand that that's some of the times where it could be the most dangerous for people being outside.
So we actually consider ourselves as first responders too. So you'll notice that everybody that's out there is going to go back out and make sure what damage has been caused, what is blown in the streets. And so our big question is, do you have to go out? If you don't have to go out, please don't go out, because you don't want to get caught with or cause additional damage. Certainly you don't want to hurt yourself and harm yourself.
Dan, I know it's a little preemptive, but assuming that there is an outage, do you think crews will be able to get out and to respond to that kind of outage quicker because the storm is a little bit, faster moving than other areas?
It will depend on the time of day. So if as we're expecting the storm to come through overnight, essentially probably be done by midnight is what we're hearing. It's dark. We're not going to send people out unless it's a critical, urgent customer or something that has happened. Otherwise, we have to wait till it's light again to send our damage assessors out. We also brought in, I think, 400 additional crews to do damage assessment. Again, the fastest way we can get lights back on is to make sure we understand what damage occurred, and that's what we'll do.
And just to be mindful in terms of the wind that's out there, we do look to anticipate that the winds will stay high till roughly around 2 in the morning. So we will not put our guys in danger in terms of being out there in the field. So.
I'd like to also introduce Nika Scott, and she's important. She'll come up here in just a second, and bear with us for being a little bit crowded. But I want to make sure that that customers know this is our customer service VP. She is working with customers and the council throughout the entire city. So all our customer communications, our text messaging, are going through NICA. They have done above and beyond even what was done during Ida. We learned some lessons from there. They're working with the hotels, they're working with the most vulnerable customers. So Micah, you want to share a little bit of what's different?
Yeah, so our customer service managers for this storm are actually embedded into our networks. We have 3 of those around the city, one in New Orleans East, one in Algiers, and one here at Tulane. So we have customer service managers who are assigned to every council district embedded here, so that when we have an outage, we know immediately that we've had an outage, because these guys, Shelton's team, communicates it to us. As soon as we know, we let the council know. We're also doing a little bit, something a little bit different this year too. On our social media feeds, you'll see that Entergy New Orleans is tagging the council utility account, so that they'll be able to repost any updates that we have.
Is there anything different this time in terms of being able to monitor? Is the system improved so that you get quicker updates on outages or quicker information out?
I'm probably not the right one to talk about the system. That's probably Shelton, but I know from a customer service perspective, as soon as something goes out, we know, but probably before a customer even calls to complain or let us know there is an outage. As soon as Shelton knows, he notifies our teams.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.